Hello ladies and gentlemen, Ollie here and welcome back once again. So I've made it to the end of my first week of med school without something terrible happening. I didn't get cholera, I didn't die in some other way, and I haven't been kicked out yet. So this is day 7 now. The week has gone unbelievably quickly, it's just swept by, and what I thought it might be useful to do is just take the time to reflect on how this first week has gone and to address some of those concerns that I made a while ago before I came to med school. So if you remember, I put out a video called, I think, Scared of Starting Med School or something, which had a list of concerns that I had before starting, and so having been here a week, I can now maybe address those. So the first thing that I want to talk about is I was worried, as I guess anyone is when they start new school, about making friends. And as I said before, when I moved to Newcastle for the first time from the kind of rural countryside of North Yorkshire, it took me about a year, I think, the best part of a year, if not the whole first academic year, to really find my feet at university and, start to make some really solid friendships and get into doing things. Like I started joining societies, and from there on my uni experience was great, but that first year was definitely a little bit more uncertain. But here at Warwick, joining the medical school, right off the bat, it's been like welcome and comfortable from day one. I mean, everyone has been so welcoming. It's a really noticeable difference. We're still in that phase where no one's quite sure of anyone's name, and there's still people on the course that we haven't met or we haven't spoken to very much. But it's perfectly okay. I mean, you can kind of go eat lunch where you want, just tap on people's shoulders and talk to them. Everyone is just so open and so friendly, and we're encouraged to be that way. And I think it is just because everyone has been through at least one undergraduate degree, many more things, in some cases, PhDs and master's degrees, and jobs in the real world. And I think everyone is much more conscious and forgiving of the fact that people are new to this. Like there's no stigma whatsoever. Like, I'm essentially a baby fresh out of uni. There are people that have had, they've started developing careers in other sectors, but literally anyone can talk to anyone. And I think we're going to form some really good and long-lasting friendships. The second thing that I kind of want to talk about is that worry that everyone had more experience than me. And, based on what I've just said, I was pretty on the money. Virtually everyone, or at least obviously anyone who's older than 21 and hasn't therefore gone straight from A-levels to undergraduate degree to this, will have some degree of extra experience. But that's totally okay. I looked at it as a negative thing before, like, how am I ever going to compete with these people? But that's not the point. I was looking at it completely the wrong way. The way I look at it now, even a week in, is, there are so many people on the course with all their different backgrounds, and I've just got so much to learn from getting to know these people and talking to them in greater detail. People, particularly during the case-based learning groups, or problem-based learning as it's referred to in other medical schools, where you're going through a case, just people have so much of their own experience to bring into play, and I think having that richness, that diversity in people's backgrounds, is going to be a really powerful tool for development for all of us. And hopefully I'll be able to help people as well. Like, we had our first CBL meeting, we needed a chair and a scribe. I mean, I've got some experience chairing meetings because of my time with the iGEM project at Newcastle. No one else had ever chaired meetings before and didn't seem comfortable, so I said, well, I've got some experience, why don't I do this first one, and then you guys can all kind of see how I would do it, and then you guys have a go next time. And then once we got actually into discussing the case, it was a medical topic that I knew very little about. And once we actually got into discussing the case, it was a medical topic that I knew very little about, but other people in the room did know a bit more about than me. So, the rest of us that didn't know anything, we just sat and listened, because it's that direct experience. I think it's so different to reading out of a textbook or off a web page. It's when someone's actually telling you about something they did, something that physically happened to them. I think it's much more appealing and a really, really good way to learn. So the third point on my list of concerns that I want to talk about is was the idea that I'm going to have to adjust my learning style, and I think that's definitely 100% true. For reference, during my undergrad degree, which is in cellular and molecular biology, I learned stuff and essentially crammed it. So I would sort of speed learn and learn everything visually, load it all into short-term memory, and then do the exam. And I think at undergrad level, for that subject, it was, in theory at least okay. I got a first-class degree. That was the way that I approached my exams, and it worked for that sort of fact recall type of exam. And I don't regret having done that, because clearly I managed to identify something that worked and I was able to do well. However, this course is clearly going to be a lot more about long-term memory retention, because I think you're essentially building up a toolkit of sort of diagnostic criteria you can use, aren't you? If it's not just an abstract piece of molecular biology information that exists in a vacuum. This time it's all about putting that knowledge into some sort of clinical context. And that's the key, and I've got that from course mates from talking to them. It's the clinical, real-world application of this science knowledge that makes it so much more exciting. Like, I started revising yesterday. I didn't do that much. I did a couple of hours just going over some basic anatomy from week 1. But it was really exciting. Like, I actually want to go away and learn more about these areas. So that's really cool, and I'm looking forward to continuing. I hope that continues to be the case as the year goes on and we start to learn more. And the very last thing that I'm going to talk about in this recap video is it was this idea of med school not living up to these kind of monolithic expectations that I built for it, because I'm sure this is true for everyone, that when you're excited, when you're going through the application process and you're kind of doing everything you can in order to realise this goal, you put it very much on a pedestal. And obviously it feels like you're almost setting yourself up for failure, because nothing could ever live up to that. But when I sat down, I would say this morning, I woke up at like 11 o'clock this morning because we went out to the ball last night. Go and read my blog for some pictures from that if you want to see them. But I woke up and decided that I was going to make this video, and I kind of tried to reflect on what my expectations were, and actually after a week, has it lived up to those expectations? And it's kind of a weird answer, but I don't have those expectations anymore. I didn't think about it once throughout the whole week. When I was reflecting, I sat down and thought, well, oh, I'm here now, and it didn't bother me at all. So I think it feels real now. Here we are. It's the start of a new course. It's the start of a new opportunity. And I think what I would say to my past self, I mean, it was only, I don't know, a month or maybe slightly less than 2 months ago that I made that video. But if you're in that same position, just don't worry about it. Like, I'm a week in, and that worry has already completely dissipated. It's not a big deal. It will go away as soon as you actually get stuck in. And we've been so busy in this first week, there just hasn't been a chance to stew on anything. It's just, day 1, lectures, social event, day 2, lectures, social event. And these first 7 days have gone by so ridiculously quickly, but it feels like we've been here much longer. Like, we're already into the groove, we're already going, and everyone feels at home, or at least the people I've spoken to just feel at home. I think compared to my last degree, the difference, the big thing that I've noticed is that at Newcastle, for better or worse, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with this approach, but within the School of Biology, it was sort of, come to our lectures, and as long as you come to our lectures and do the work, we don't care. Like go and live your life. embrace opportunities, go and do what you want. But here it feels much more integrated and holistic. It's sort of like, okay, the course is your life now. This medical degree is going to be all encompassing, but the uni feels like it's sort of pushing us, and through older students as well, the entire system is pushing us to develop our own skills and join societies, and they were talking about doing research projects over the summer, and it just feels like a bit more of a nurturing environment, and I'm sure it has to be because of the course. Obviously it's a very all-encompassing course, but that's the main difference, is it is concentrated on, I think, developing you into your best self, as it were. Nurturing is the word I would use. That's a good word for it. But guys, that is where I'm going to wrap up this recap video for now. I will be doing occasional videos as and when things happen. The blog will carry on every single day. If you haven't, please go and like the Facebook page at facebook.com/PostGradMedic, because I will post the links to the blog on there every single day, or just look at the website postgradmedic.com, or you can follow me on Twitter at the Ollie Burton, and I post links there too. And I'm going to do a full sort of AMA type video thing soon, asking for feedback. But if you've got any generic questions about the med school application process, about what it's like to be at Warwick, what it's like to be in med school at all, or just any concerns you have, please let me know either through the website, Twitter, or on here in the comments section, because I will make dedicated videos if I think they're useful to answering each question that I get, when I get the time to do it, of course. Take care guys, and I'll see you in another video. Bye bye for now.